cold wind sweeps across the quiet ranch. Ty stands alone, leaning against the worn wooden fence, his eyes distant. A letter trembles in his hand, the edges worn and creased from countless readings. The sky darkens, as if the world itself senses the storm brewing inside him. The promise he made, one that could protect the people he loves, is heavier than anything he has ever carried. And breaking it is not an option. Yet every choice feels like it will shatter something precious. The camera follows, Ty's hands as they tighten around the letter. His knuckles turn white. Shadows stretch across the barn floor, reflecting the weight in his heart. He moves slowly toward the tack room, each step heavy, almost reluctant, as if the floor itself knows the burden he carries. There's no sound except the creak of old wood and the distant whinny of a horse. He stops in front of a small, worn saddle-an object that reminds him of all the promises he's made, and the cost of keeping them. Ty kneels and sets the letter down carefully, almost reverently, as if it contains not just words, but his very soul. His eyes scan the handwriting, tracing the lines that hold a vow he cannot break. Faceless narration begins, soft but heavy with emotion. I made a promise I can't undo. No matter what happens, no matter how much it hurts. This promise, it's not just mine, it belongs to them. He stands abruptly, pacing the barn, running his fingers through his hair, each movement sharp with tension. The sound of boots echoing on the wooden floor mirrors the storm inside his mind. Memories flash in brief, faceless shots, a younger Ty laughing on the ranch. A worried Amy watching him ride off into the fields, Jack clinging to his side, Lindy smiling in the sunlight. Every image is a reminder of why this promise matters, why it cannot, under any circumstances, be broken. The wind rattles the barn doors, and Ty pauses, staring out through the small gaps in the wood. The world outside is calm, deceptively peaceful. But inside him, chaos churns. The narration continues. Every time I think about breaking it, I feel like I'm letting them down. And I can't do that. Not again. He walks slowly to the window, staring at the open fields, the horses grazing quietly, oblivious to the storm of emotion and their caretaker. Ty's eyes glint with determination, but also uncertainty. The camera lingers on his hands, clenching and unclenching, showing that every fiber of him is caught between fear and responsibility. He takes a deep breath and mutters to himself, barely audible, I promised. I can't. I won't. A subtle shift in music underscores the tension, soft at first, then swelling as the gravity of his promise becomes almost suffocating. The letter lies on the table, waiting, and the camera slowly zooms in on the words, leaving them just out of full focus. The audience feels the weight without ever needing to see Ty's face. The narration lingers. Promises are easy to make, but impossible to keep when the world is against you. Ty turns away from the window, moving toward the barn door. His steps are deliberate now, as if each one is a decision in itself. He stops halfway, glances back at the letter, and then steels himself. The storm outside picks up slightly, branches scratching against the barn walls, echoing the tension in his mind. The section ends with Ty opening the barn door, stepping into the chilly wind, symbolizing the start of a journey that will test everything he believes in. This completes Section 1 with a strong emotional hook. Faceless storytelling elements and clear visual cues for a video, the wind has grown sharper. Cutting through the open fields like a whisper of warning, Ty walks slowly along the fence line, boots crunching against the frost-covered ground. Every step seems deliberate, but his mind races faster than his feet. A distant sound catches him, a horse shifting in the corral, and he freezes. The peaceful ranch noises that usually comfort him now feel like an intrusion, a reminder that life won't wait for him to figure out the impossible. From the shadows of the barn, a figure emerges faceless to the camera, just a silhouette against the fading sunlight. It's Amy. She approaches slowly, her posture tense, careful not to startle him. The distance between them feels charged, heavy with unspoken words. The narration begins. Sometimes the people we love become the ones who challenge us the most. They don't know the weight of our promises, They just know the choices we make affect them. Ty stops walking, staring straight ahead, shoulders stiff. He doesn't turn, but his body language speaks volumes: conflict, frustration, and fear tangled together. Amy steps closer, stopping just out of reach, and her voice breaks the silence. Ty, you can't keep carrying this alone. You have to decide. Are you going to let this promise define you, or destroy you? The words hit him like a jolt of lightning. Faceless visuals show Ty's hands twitching, clenching, then slowly opening. He shifts his gaze to the horizon, the endless fields stretching under the cold light of the setting sun. The camera captures the wide, open landscape, emphasizing the smallness of one man against the enormity of the choices he faces. A single leaf drifts past, twirling in the wind, an image that mirrors the fragility of his resolve. Narration continues. Soft but firm, the world doesn't wait for perfect timing. Pressure comes from all sides. Friends, family, even the people we're trying to protect. They want us to act, to choose, to make a move before we're ready. But what if every move I make could break what I promised? A subtle shift in sound occurs, hoofbeats approaching from the distance. Jack rides in, faceless but urgent, bringing news of the ranch, the horses, and obligations piling up. The tension rises. Ty watches Jack ride past, his own shoulders stiffening. The promise he made clashes with reality. In every element around him, the wind, the distant animals. The people moving through his world serves as a reminder that action is inevitable. Ty finally turns to face Amy, not speaking, only nodding slightly. It's enough for her to understand that he's aware of the weight, but not yet ready to bend. Faceless narration captures the internal turmoil. It's easy to make a promise when the world is quiet. It's another thing entirely when it's loud, and everyone depends on you. He steps toward the barn, pausing at the doorway as the wind picks up again. Tugging at the edges of his jacket and the letter in his pocket, the music swells gently, highlighting the tension between duty and desire, between the promise he cannot break and the lives that hang in the balance. The scene ends with Ty opening the barn door wider, the camera lingering on his hands, gripping the edge of the door frame, symbolizing the pull of responsibility and the outside pressure that will not let him rest. This completes Section 2, introducing external pressure, subtle character dynamics, and cinematic tension while maintaining the faceless storytelling. The wind dies down for a moment, leaving only the quiet hum of the ranch at dusk. Ty sits on the edge of a hay bale inside the barn, the letter now resting on his knee. Shadows stretch across the walls, long and thin, like memories reaching back from the past. The camera slowly pans over objects in the barn: a worn saddle, a scratched bridle, a horseshoe nailed crookedly to the wall. Each one a symbol of the promises he has made and kept over the years. Faceless narration begins. Soft and reflective, promises aren't just words. They're pieces of us, pieces of those we love. Sometimes the past reminds us why we made them, and why we can't break them, no matter how much it hurts. The scene shifts into faceless flashbacks. A younger Ty is shown riding across open fields, laughing freely as the sun sets behind him. Another shot shows him kneeling beside a frightened foal, calming it with steady hands, a silent promise to protect, to care, to never fail. Amy appears in these memories, faceless yet recognizable by her posture and gestures, handing him a wrapped bandage or standing quietly while he works, showing trust and faith in him that he can never betray. The camera returns to the present, focusing on Ty's hands as they trace the letters on the envelope. His fingers tremble slightly, not from cold, but from the weight of memory pressing down. The narration continues. Every promise I made came with hope, and with fear, feared that I wouldn't be enough, fear that I'd fail the people I love most. Faceless visuals show a table scattered with old photographs and mementos. Ty's first trophy at a local horse show, a horse brush with initials carved into the handle. A faded note from Amy saying thank you for always keeping your word. Each object evokes a silent, emotional story. The camera lingers on these items, letting the audience feel the history and depth behind Ty's commitment without ever showing his face. The flashbacks intensify, overlapping past and present. Ty's hands grip the letter tightly as faceless scenes show a stormy night at the ranch years ago, a foal lost. A fire nearly spreading through the barn, moments when Ty's choices meant life or death. The narration grows more urgent. I've made promises when everything was against me. I've chosen to stand firm when the world expected me to break. And I can't turn away now. Because turning away would mean losing more than just a word. It would mean losing them. Close-up shows Ty placing the letter back in his pocket, his hand lingering there for a moment, as if drawing strength from the tangible weight of his vow. The camera pans slowly upward to the barn rafters, catching dust particles drifting through the fading light like fragments of memory hanging in the air, delicate yet unbreakable. The music swells gently, a soft but haunting melody that mirrors the bittersweet blend of hope and fear. Ty stands, facing the barn door, the wind whispering through the gaps. His body tenses, a silent decision forming within him. The narration concludes this section. The past teaches us, warns us, guides us. But the promise remains. And no matter what comes, I can't and I won't let it go. The scene ends with Ty stepping out of the barn, the last light of the setting sun catching the edges of the letter in his pocket, symbolizing the unwavering strength of his vow. And the journey that is only just beginning. This completes Section 3, highlighting Ty's emotional backstory using faceless storytelling flashbacks and symbolic objects to deepen the audience's connection. The night falls fast, and the ranch is cloaked in darkness, broken only by the flickering light of a lantern swinging gently in the barn doorway. Ty walks across the field, boots sinking slightly into the soft earth, the letter still clutched in his hand. The wind picks up again, carrying with it the faint scent of hay, horses, and rain. A storm rolling in that mirrors the storm inside him. Each step is heavy, deliberate, like the weight of every promise he's ever made, pressing down on his shoulders. Faceless narration begins, tense and urgent. Every choice leads somewhere. Every step has a consequence. And this one could change everything. Sudden movement in the distance draws Ty's attention, a shadow of a horse galloping toward him, its rider unseen. The camera captures the approaching figure only through the blur of motion and the rhythm of hoofbeats. Ty pauses, heart tightening. The outside pressure he's been carrying, the responsibilities and expectations, now demand action. The narration continues. It's easy to stay hidden when no one is watching, but when everyone depends on you, hiding isn't an option. Ty reaches the barn, throwing the door open. Inside, the horses shift nervously, their breath visible in the cold night air. The camera lingers on Ty's hands as he sets the letter on the table, his fingers brushing over it slowly, almost reverently. The music swells a low, pulsing sound that mimics a racing heartbeat. Faceless visuals show his reflection in the metal of a feed bucket, the barn shadows stretching and twisting, amplifying the tension of his decision. A voice, calm but firm, cuts through the silence. It's Amy, unseen but present. Ty, you have to decide. You can't stay in the middle. You can't wait any longer. The words echo around the barn like a challenge. Ty pauses, shoulders tightening. His eyes scan the barn, the horses, the objects that have been witnesses to every promise he's kept. Faceless narration, I can't fail them. Not now, not ever. Some promises aren't just words there, the very foundation of who we are. Ty takes a deep breath, almost trembling, and steps into the middle of the barn. He lifts his head, staring into the shadows as if the darkness itself were testing him. The camera focuses on the letter in his pocket, the worn edges illuminated by the lantern. He clenches it tightly, a symbol of his resolve. The wind gusts, rattling the barn doors, and the storm outside grows louder, mirroring the surge of determination and fear within him. Faceless. Flashbacks overlap subtly moments when Ty's choices defined life or death. Small victories and devastating losses. Each memory pushes him toward the inevitable. Narration intensifies. I've always known there would be a moment when doing the right thing hurts more than anything else. This is that moment. I can't turn away. I won't. With a final exhale, Ty steps out of the barn into the storm, shoulders squared, boots sinking into the muddy field. The camera follows from behind, capturing the vast open sky above and the endless fields before him. The letter is tucked safely in his pocket, a beacon of the promise he refuses to break. The music crescendos, a mix of tension and quiet triumph. Signaling the turning point in Ty's journey, the section ends with Ty standing in the pouring rain. The wind whipping around him, silhouetted against the lightning-lit sky. The narration leaves the audience on the edge. Some promises are impossible to keep, but that doesn't mean we stop trying. Let's complete section 4. Highlighting Ty's turning point with dramatic tension, faceless symbolism, and cinematic intensity. The storm continues to rage across the ranch. Rain soaking the earth, turning the fields into a patchwork of mud and puddles. Ty walks slowly through the drenched pastures, the letter pressing against his chest like a heartbeat he can't ignore. The wind whips through his jacket, tugging at it like the weight of every expectation he's ever carried. His steps falter slightly as he senses the invisible threads of consequence stretching behind him. Pulling tighter with every decision he's made tonight, faceless narration begins. Low and resonant, every choice has a cost. Every promise carries weight, and the weight doesn't disappear once the choice is made. It follows you. It waits for you to face it. Inside the barn, the camera shows Amy, faceless but tense, moving toward the tack area. She pauses, glancing toward the open barn doors, aware that Ty's decision is already affecting everything around them. Shadows of Jack and Lindy appear in the background, faceless figures moving quietly, each reacting to Ty's absence and the ripple of his choice. The narration continues. Sometimes doing the right thing doesn't mean everyone is happy. Sometimes it means standing alone, even when those you love are watching. Ty stops near the corral, gripping the fence. The rain runs down his hands, mixing with the mud, making each touch heavy, symbolic. The camera lingers on a close-up of his boots sinking into the soft earth small. It's a silent reminder that every action leaves a mark. He glances at the horses, restless and sensitive to the storm, mirroring the tension inside him. Faceless narration. They don't know the battles I've fought, the nights I've spent wrestling with fear and doubt, but the promise cannot break. Suddenly, a horse whinnies loudly, shattering the quiet of the night. Ty flinches, tension rising, as if the world itself is responding to his decision. He takes a deep breath and pulls the letter from his pocket, holding it against his chest again. The camera focuses on it in slow motion. Droplets of rain sliding across the paper symbols of fragility, commitment, and consequence. Narration, I can feel it. The consequence is waiting for me. The people who will be affected, the paths that will change, the hearts that might break. But I can't step back. Not now. The storm continues, the wind howling louder as Ty begins to move again, walking toward the house. Faceless visuals show Amy watching from a distance, hands clasped together, silently praying or hoping. Jack leans on the fence, uncertain, aware of the tension in the air, but unable to fully grasp the depth of Ty's struggle. Shadows stretch across the ground, like long fingers of fate reaching toward him. The narration grows more intense. It's almost desperate. Every choice has a consequence. But some promises define us. They shape who we are, even if it hurts. Even if the world shifts around us. This promise, my promise, it is who I am. Ty finally reaches the porch, water dripping from his hair and jacket, shoulders heavy but resolute. The camera captures the faceless reactions of those waiting for him, concern, tension, hope, and fear, all intertwined. The music swells into a haunting melody, emphasizing the emotional weight of the moment. He steps onto the porch, still silent, and the narration lingers. I may not know what comes next, but I know this. I cannot break it. I will not. The section ends with a wide shot of the ranch under the stormy sky, Ty standing in the middle of it all, small but unyielding, a lone figure bound by honor, love, and an unbreakable promise. The audience feels the tension, the stakes, and the emotional weight. Setting up the next section, where the repercussions will escalate even further, the storm has not relented. Rain lashes against the roof of the barn, soaking the fields in a relentless gray wash. Ty moves through the ranch with quiet urgency, boots squelching in the mud, water dripping from the brim of his hat. Each step feels like a test. Each shadow seems alive with expectation, as if the world itself is demanding he honor the promise he made. The wind carries distant echoes, hooves pounding, doors banging, the low moan of trees bending under the storm, reminders that his choices have consequences reaching far beyond him. Faceless narration begins. Intense and pressing promises are easy to make in calm weather. But when the storm comes, when the world pushes back, that's when you learn what it really means to keep one. From the darkness emerges a faceless figure approaching. Quickly, Jack, frantic, gesturing urgently. The camera captures Jack's shadowed movements, hands pointing toward the corral. A sudden problem has arisen. A gate left unsecured, a frightened foal on the verge of bolting, or a sudden danger to the herd. Ty freezes for a heartbeat, the weight of his promise pressing down harder than ever. Every instinct screams to act, but every choice must honor the vow he cannot break. Faceless flash visuals show Ty moving decisively, almost in slow motion, hands reaching out to secure the gate, guiding the foal, calming the horses. The camera focuses on small, symbolic gestures, hands gripping leather, fingers brushing against a flaring nostril, feet shifting to block a panicked animal. Each movement is deliberate, a quiet demonstration of responsibility and honor, showing that even faceless, his actions speak volumes. The narration continues. Voice tense but determined. I can't let the promise falter. Even when danger surrounds me, even when every instinct tells me to run, I have to stand firm. Because this isn't just about me. It's about them, about everyone who trusts me. Suddenly, another challenge arises, perhaps a fence line breaking, a storm surge threatening the stables, or a call from Amy alerting him to an urgent family issue. Ty reacts quickly, moving from one task to another, balancing chaos and responsibility. Faceless visuals capture the tension. Rain-soaked hands tying ropes, water splashing around his boots, shadows of horses and people in rapid movement. Every frame communicates urgency, stakes, and the relentless pull of consequences. The camera lingers on Ty's expression through reflection in wet metal, or a rain-drenched window, or even a puddle. Though faceless, the audience sees determination. Fear and exhaustion intertwined, a man pushed to the limits but unwilling to break. Narration intensifies. Every choice I make tonight echoes farther than I can see. Every action carries weight. But this promise, my promise, it is the one thing I cannot fail. As the storm rages around him, Ty pauses for a brief moment at the edge of the field. Looking out across the wet, darkened ranch, lightning flickers in the distance, illuminating the landscape in stark, fleeting flashes. The music rises to a tense crescendo, highlighting both danger and determination. Ty pulls the letter from his pocket once more, holding it close. The wind tearing at his coat, but not at his resolve. The section closes with a wide, cinematic shot. Ty, small against the vast, stormy fields, silhouetted by lightning. The stakes are higher than ever. The consequence is immediate, and yet his vow remains unbroken. Faceless narration lingers in the air. Some storms test everything you are, but some promises are stronger than the fiercest winds. This completes Section 6. Focusing on escalating external challenges, cinematic tension, and Ty's unwavering resolve. The storm reaches its peak, rain hammering the rooftops, wind howling through the open fields like a living force testing every fiber of Ty's being. He stands at the center of the ranch, water soaking through his jacket, boots sinking into the mud. The letter rests firmly in his pocket, a tangible reminder of the promise he cannot break. Every instinct in him screams to retreat, to find safety, but he doesn't. His shoulders are squared, every movement deliberate, each one a testament to the vow he has carried through fire. fear, and doubt. Faceless narration begins. Deep and resonant, some promises aren't made in calm moments. They are forged in storms, tested by fear, and weighed down by the consequences we can't yet see. But breaking them is not an option. Faceless visuals show Amy and Jack in the distance, moving through the rain, their gestures frantic but trusting. They cannot see his face, but the audience can feel the silent communication, the knowledge that Ty will protect no matter the cost. Shadows stretch across the flooded fields, flickering under flashes of lightning. Mirroring the stakes and danger pressing in from all sides, a sudden emergency unfolds. Loose fence, threatening the horses. A tree branch about to fall, or a frightened foal bolting. Ty moves swiftly, every motion controlled, precise, and fearless. Hands grip ropes, boots slide in mud, rain plastering his hair and jacket. Each gesture is faceless storytelling at its most intense. Showing his courage and determination without a single word spoken directly to the audience, the narration continues. Steady and emotional, I can't turn away. I can't falter. Every choice, every action, every second, it leads back to that promise. It's bigger than me. Bigger than fear. Bigger than the storm itself? Lightning strikes nearby, illuminating Ty in stark relief against the darkened sky. The camera pans slowly, showing the breadth of the ranch. The people and animals whose lives depend on his actions, and the sheer weight of the responsibility he bears. Despite the chaos, Ty's movements are deliberate, focused, almost ritualistic, demonstrating that honor, loyalty, and love guide him more than fear ever could. The storm begins to subside slightly. Rain still falling, but the tension shifts. Ty steps toward the barn, letter safely in his pocket, soaked to the bone, but triumphant in his resolve. Faceless visuals capture Amy and Jack reacting from a distance, relief, respect, and unspoken gratitude. Shadows stretch long across the wet ground, marking the end of this particular trial. But hinting at the ongoing journey ahead, the narration lingers. Soft but heavy with emotion. Promises are tested by storms, by danger, by doubt, but the ones that matter most are the ones we refuse to break, no matter what comes next. I will stand by it, always. The final shot is cinematic, a wide view of Ty standing alone in the rain-soaked field. Lightning illuminating the horizon, letter pressed to his chest. Wind tugging at him, unbroken and unwavering. Text appears subtly on screen. The promise remains. But the next storm is coming. The music fades with a lingering, haunting note, leaving the audience anticipating the next episode. This completes Section 7. Giving a powerful emotional climax, cinematic, faceless visuals, and a suspenseful cliffhanger that sets up the continuation of Ty's journey in Heartland S19 Fanfiction E83.